lunch, everyone. It was a very interesting lunch. I enjoyed every minute of it. I come from Western Cape, so we serve lunch differently. Where I'm not home in Flexstone. So I was reminded of home a little bit. There was fun. And yeah, we'll be talking transformation. How do we transform government? And I have the best panelists to come and talk about that. Quite nice and tech has just laid a great foundation for us on how can government transform. And I would like to call Rashika. I don't know how to spoil the second part. Ramai. Oh, Rashika Ramla from Syntec. You can clap. And Auntie Estofile from Microsoft. Martin Badbana. I'd just like to know in your own definition, what does digital transformation mean? Anyone can take that and can all say what it is. But before you say that, you can all introduce yourself. I know you're from Syntec, but I don't know more about what you do and why you think that you the transformation plan will help all of us.
So good afternoon. My name is Andy Mistofile. I'm from Microsoft South Africa. I'm the government and corporate affairs lead. Simple terms, my responsibility is to make sure that within the country we're doing good business. We are profit-making entities, not a charity, but there's always ways that you can do business or do good business in the country. So, you know, when we talk about this digital transformation thing, for me, I think we need to just simplify things. And when we simplify things, it's looking at it from the citizen more than anything. So how do we look at it from the citizen's point of view? So, you know, I like to start with, first of all, giving it a face. So, and when I say I'm giving it a face, I just want to make a simple example. So, if you remember years ago, we wanted to do the e-passport route, you know, for the country. Now, the challenge that we face, or I mean, it's a joke, but the issue that we face now is, you know, now you want to go and digitize this whole thing, but you've got someone at Bike Bridge. Remember that face that I'm talking about? You've got someone at Bike Bridge who has always been trained to scan. Now, as soon as they see this e-passport, a digital passport, whether it's on a cell phone, it's a card, what they're going to do is to stamp it, right? So, for me, the key part in the whole digital transformation, because I think it's quite understood, it's widely understood what digital transformation is. But we need to focus on the people, we need to focus on the processes, because to digitize processes is one thing, but if it's not a good process. You can't digitize something that's not a good process. So how do you reimagine, rethink, even the processes, even the people, how do we start considering that all these things require people, and therefore, how do we start applying change management principles to the people so that they are not doing manual tasks on top of a digitized task? So for me, is making sure that all of these things that we talk about, is they affect and impact the citizen positively, and that should be the core focus. Not the technology part, but the citizen.
If you can elaborate on what it means by people, but there's a difference between people and citizens. I think there is.
I asked you.
People and citizen in terms of business. I was just asking if you can elaborate on digital transformation with people. Okay, then digital transformation.
See, that process is also be digitized. The mind process must be digitized before you start.
The mics are Chief Information and Technology Officer at Syntec, and we very different from Microsoft about bringing services to the people, to the citizens of South Africa. And we're not about profit making, we are about creating a sustainable company, but we are about servicing the nation, making sure that they all have universal access and that we provide. So DM spoke about making sure that everyone has access to telecommunications, to ICT services, so that we can scale for the future. In terms of digital transformation, what I believe that it is, what the center believe that it is about, it's twofold, right? So in terms of what we're looking at digitizing government entities, so automating their processes, making sure that they can do business much more efficiently, effectively, and productively. And then also, as Angela indicated, is digitizing for the customer, the end user, or the citizens of the country, so that they can get services in a more efficient, effective, and productive.
My name is Martin Manuwana. I'm currently the CIO of the Department of Education. I've just started there about a year ago. And my role as the CIO is to ensure that the department can communicate through ICT services. And also, the main function of the department is to provide teaching and learning, to ensure that teaching and learning can also be provided across the province through ICT. Now, my understanding of digitalization in the department I find myself in. First is digitization, I understand it into a different way of doing things than we used to do previously. If I may just give an example, we used to do things manually, but through digitization, they are done electronically. I'm going to give a simple example about the music industry. There is a company called Musica that sells CDs. And the industry of music, when I grew up, we used to have records. We used to dance for music on records. Then there was tape recorders on tape. Then it moved to CDs. And CDs are also going out there because of digitization. And companies like Musica, because they were selling music on CDs or whatever media that is being used currently. If they don't change their way of doing things, their business model is going to fail, and they'll go out of business model. So that is my understanding of digitization. It changes the way in which we do things, but we use electronics to be necessary to do the same thing that we used to do before. In the department that I find myself in, the first thing I would indicate that limpopo is too much of a development. I don't mean to say we are the West. Okay, there are others in our stable, like the Eastern State. But
because I'm on the planet.
yes. But being rural, there is no infrastructure. And for you to digitize a province like Limpopo, it requires a lot of money. First, we need connectivity. We need to connect all our government entities, including schools. Yeah? That is our head office, our districts, our circuits, including the schools, so that we can be in a position to transform the way in which we provide teaching and learning through the usage of ICT. Without that connectivity, we still have a massive challenges of problems. Although there are private providers that are already in the space and competing, as government, we are confined to SITA, and we need to provide connectivity via SITA. SITA is not a telecoms company. It also sources the services from the private providers. But it has got stringent rules, and at times does not allow the private sector. In fact, the Act does not allow the private sector to directly liaise with us to provide connectivity. So that the private providers only provide connectivity to the citizens in the province, and which we acknowledge. But as government, we still have the challenge that we are not free just to directly go to the private providers to connect our entities. So that is the challenge that I am facing in the Department of Education, given the rural nature of the province. And the terrain at times is not, there's mountains, there's valleys. It's not easy. To connect it through fiber is going to take years and require lots of money. So, yeah. But for us to say we have digitized and provide our schools or our learners with digitized content, first we need to connect, then we need to provide them with the gadgets, either laptops, tablets, smart devices, and so that they can be in a position to communicate. Secondly, in the province, we also need to provide our teachers with the skills to be in a position to transfer the skills to our youth. Most of our teachers are old and they belong to the BBTs. I guess the audience understands when I'm talking about the BBTs. They were born before technology was born. So when you tell them about technology now, it's a challenge. So we require a lot of training to our teachers, so that they are in a position to confidently be able to use these gadgets and to use them to transfer knowledge around this. So that is the space that I find myself in.
Thank you. Angela, I just want to find out, based on what you said earlier on, how can digital transformation be implemented in the public sector?
Maybe let me just try and, there's a point which I get to amplify, which is around the people. Gito's spoken about training. You know, the risk that we, and I think the Deputy Minister articulated this very well, to say that we can't leave anyone behind. The risk that we run with all of these, the technology focus, which of course, yes, there must be to help speed up things. That's how, the 4-hour revolution is, supposed to speed up things exponentially. But the risk that we run is that if we leave people behind, not understanding, they will start thinking of this thing as witchcraft. So anything that we don't understand, where I come from is witchcraft, we blow it. So if we don't understand it, we brand it as blowing. And we're going to be born before technology, we're going to run away from all of these things. So that change management aspect, for me, becomes very critical. And in a lot of these discussions that we're having, it's always led from a technology point of view. I never hear about the people point of view, which for me becomes very important, because otherwise then, as Tito was saying, you're then going to have these great technologies without people using them. You would imagine a world whereby, if, Chito came onto the podium and he had his, digital tablet, he would just put it here but still have a paper to write on. Because that is what is used to, and because that change management aspect of the people has not happened. You remember, these are some of the challenges that, even from an electrification of rural areas, these are the practicals these are the things that we face as a country, because people say, no, but wait, we haven't been used to electricity. Now, my cows are not native, you see, and therefore it affects me negatively, and therefore they go through those lights. So I think the people aspect becomes very important. Now, with regards to the second question, which is how do we digitize government? So for me, I think, the people element is very important first. But I think, for me, what becomes important is to be able to do a proper analysis of these processes. Because if you don't do the analysis of the process, you are going to merely, it's garbage in, garbage out. So how do you then reimagine? One of the speakers earlier on spoke about rethinking and reimagining and restarting, so that we look at what is the end goal in mind, and then we reverse engineer and say whatever process is a hindrance towards this exponential growth and this explosion that we're going to face should be put aside, and reimagine a world whereby now the processes then are supporting this digital explosion that we're going to be facing. So it's the people for me, it's the processes, and then the technology then comes in, because technology is always an enabler towards something. For me, that becomes the approach that we should focus on, and and that's how we should adopt it in government point of view.
I still want you to take right people. If you can define what you mean when you say the people. You use two words earlier, the citizen and the people.
So people and citizen is one and the same. Right, so before I'm a Microsoft employee, I'm a citizen because whatever challenges that, as soon as we come out of this hotel, are facing, whether it's crime or socio-economic challenges, are going to face me. So that is, I'm a person, so I'm a people, in plural, but, which is a citizen of the country of South Africa. Hope that explains it.
Yeah, that's...
Not in any political terms, like use people and citizen, it's no political terms.
Okay.
It's in the generic English version.
It is.
Okay. I just wanted to chat about what the gentleman spoke about in terms of looking for education. So at CETEC, I think Mahuda had alluded to our e-learning solution that we have. So while we're rolling out broadband connectivity through fixed wireless and fiber and satellite immediately, and our solutions are scalable from 10 megs to 100 megs. And we have TV white space where we can't reach, like you mentioned, the terrain, the mountains and the valleys. And we have that connectivity available, but we're also rolling out e-learning solutions at this moment in time. So we just rolled out in KZN. And what this e-learning solution is a completely digitized platform that allows learners to access the school curriculum online. So you don't need any textbooks anymore. So the curriculum is on the platform itself. We provide the learners with tablets. We provide the school with a smartboard that the teacher can write an answer to text. We even provide training for the teachers, for the students. And it actually gives them the skills to go into the digital age. So we have those solutions right now available. And we are willing to help you in the area.
I think that will also give you an opportunity to elaborate how can they adopt those that you're looking for. So you have all those solutions, and there's going to be some adoption. So how does digital transformation be adopted by the public sector? You can elaborate on that.
So I think what Andrea mentioned is change management. It's very critical, and we know that our people are, particularly in the rural areas, are not familiar with digital technologies and ICT services. So training is critical. And we have a number of SOPs that do training as well. So we have the NISAs that can help with the training, the teachers. We ourselves do training to the teachers and the students as well. So it's all about change management and how we take those services to the rural environments, to the departments. But we have to have a change management process in place where we help them to adopt these technologies.
I want to elaborate on that question again because I still think that people as a citizen are totally different things to me. So it's just how I see it in government. So I'm based in Western Cape. When they rolled out their smart city project, I was part of it. And I used to work with the directors in the government side. It was quite interesting how they look at themselves as an external party. They used to say, when we do things for the citizen, this is what we should be doing for the citizens. And they, forgetting that they were citizens, they had a different strategy for how the government is going to adopt, because they are people. And when they talk about the citizen and how the citizens are going to adopt digital transformation, they were talking as if it's just an external. It's high school children, it's people struggling, so the people, it's people who are carrying tech already, who are transformed. And the citizen, according to the way they would speak, it was the people that the minister was talking about that we mustn't leave behind. So when they look at citizen, it seems as if they're speaking about people who are really struggling. That's how I wanted to understand that why do we still have that distinction. I think it boils down to why we're talking about the Department of Education being left behind, because it tends to impact, especially the directors. When they think of the people, they think about educated, people who have access, and then when you talk about the citizen, it's just everything. And I think that's the crux of why the citizens are always left behind. Because when I think of myself as a citizen, I would think differently about myself.
So, that's why you are in the Republic of Cape Town, which is on its own. That's why you must go home, so that you don't make a differentiation. So it's not a good case study to talk about Western Cape. You must come back to South Africa, please. That's what you must do. Come home. Northern Cape is from Northern Cape, you must go back home, please. Please, we miss you there, we need you.
implement digital transformation in the Department of Education?
In the Department of Education, currently we have a strategy. In government, we normally call it a ICT plan. It indicates what we need to do to transform our schooling environment into a digital sphere. But the limiting factor are first the funds, finances, and secondly, SITA, I indicated. It's a challenge because the SITA Act says for us to connect government entities, SITA must be the one that does it. Although there are several other role players, like Centric, there's BBI, currently there's the so-called SA Connect, there's got challenges. It was given money last year, about 10 billion, and towards the end of the year, the money was not there, it was taken away. So in government, there's just too many challenges. But to ensure that people get to understand and that this is the route we are taking, well, it first starts with government itself. At the political level, the politicians need to understand that the world we are in now is not the world of the BBTs. It's a transformed world, and where now technology is critical to our daily lives. So in the department, our NEC is very much supportive. She's not a BBT, although she was born during the BBT times, but she is transformed. So she likes to ensure that first the employees within the department use ICT gadgets, tablets and things like that. What we have done so far is all our SMS members got their tablets, our second offices they've got tablets. We are in the process of rolling out some tablets to some schools. They are called MST schools. There are 107 of them in the province. I think about 50 tablets per school, a smart board, a laptop for the teachers and things like that. And we'll be having a plan of how to capacitate the teachers to be in a position to utilize these gadgets to teach, to provide teaching to the learners. So those are some of the initiatives that are already in place. Like I've indicated that funding is a challenge. One of the strategies out of the cake that we get from President, part of it was to buy physical books for our kids. So what we have done, we are gradually now looking into that fund, that budget, that instead of just buying physical books for using the whole money, is to take a portion of it and introduce technology. Buy tablets. Once we buy the tablets, we ensure that we load content for the students into those tablets. So that instead of having 10 books for 10 subjects, at least they have got one tablet with all the 10 subjects in it. And they can be in the school to utilize it. So those are some of the initiatives that as limpopo was initiated. But it remains a limiting factor for activity. And we still have a long way to go.
In closing remarks, you can just touch on how our digitally transformed South Africa. Think back to the presentation that was done by the commissioner, where she was speaking about how South Africa is like some parts first IR, some parts fourth IR, and how can we make sure that everybody is digitally transformed, even in these different stages, especially in the public sector.
How can we make sure that everyone
in the public sector is digitally transformed? Though we still have pockets, now we've got different pockets of where the country is.
No, for me, this thing again, it goes back to mindset, right? And I keep on harping on the change management. So, if you don't create the excitement, and change management, by the by, I extend it even further than training. Have you seen how in the taxi rides, when they want you to adopt SIM cards, they've got a jamboree, they've got all kinds of music, they create excitement. Now, we should be able to take some of those learnings from a marketing point of view excite people, because training, by the by, can be seen in an adverse manner, right? So how do we excite them? How do we change their mindset so that they actually, by the time they get to the training room, their minds are fertilized? There's nothing worse than planting seeds on concrete. That is the worst thing that you can do. So how do you fertilize? And for me, it's really around, one, you need to first of all understand, the life of that particular company employee. So when we talk about processes, have I actually sat there and understood the challenges end to end that that person faces? Because then whatever digital transformation solution is addressing a problem, which they then see the benefit of it. So that also becomes quite important.
I think from a centric perspective, in terms of digitally transforming the public sector, there's a number of things that we are looking at. Nukula spoke to a bit of them. So in terms of IoT, we've developed IoT solutions. So underpinning everything is connectivity, right? And we have the connectivity solutions we're willing to roll out. But we have IoT solutions, for instance, asset tracking. So we know that limpopo is big in mining. So we can do asset tracking, asset monitoring, and so on. We also know that limpopo is big in agriculture, and we have IoT solutions to help the up-and-coming farmers, where these solutions actually tell the farmers when to fertilize, when to water, and so on. We also have other IoT solutions that manage water consumption. We know water is a scarce resource, so it manages water consumption in terms of leakages of pipes and how water is consumed. We also have IoT solutions that manages electricity meters, so geysers and so on. And these things can be rolled out to the municipalities, so creating smart municipalities and smart cities. And we're also looking at creating smart villages, because it's about taking universal service to all the people of South Africa, not just pockets that are in the metros. So when we talk about smart villages, we're saying that we'll enable the schools with e-learning platforms and the surrounding community so that they are all enabled with ICT services and connectivity. In terms of, we spoke about e-health, we spoke about e-learning. We also have e-health solutions for your rural clinics as well. We have a tool, again, it's a platform that allows you to, for instance, scan a patient and then diagnose what the patient has. So we know that in rural communities, there's sometimes a shortage of the right types of skills for nursing or doctors. Now these digital solutions or e-health solutions essentially is a digitized solution that can scan the patient, can diagnose the patient, and if need be, if the rural clinic needs to connect with a clinic in the big metro to get a hold of a specialized doctor, they can do that and do procedures remotely. So those are some of the solutions that are at Centec. And when we're talking about government departments and how we digitize government departments, it's all about automating their processes. And like Angela said, garbage in, garbage out. So if the process is not right, from a manual perspective, then when you're automating it, it's not going to be right. But some of the solutions that we are looking into is machine learning. So looking at the complete value chain of the process and then automating that using machine learning so that it learns when to do certain techniques and when to initiate certain algorithms and when to activate certain tasks. So these are some of the things that we are bringing from a Centec perspective to digitize the public sector. We think that's very valuable and we're ready to roll out, and everything is underpinned by connectivity, and yeah, let's make it happen.
How ready is Limpopo to roll out the robotics, gaming, and this new curriculum that the Minister has just introduced?
Part of this initiative of rolling out tablets to schools, identified schools, and providing training to the teachers. Part of the teaching will also include robotics and coding. So that's the plan, and this is going to begin to be rolled out in the next financial year, which means starting from primary school. So we are starting small, about 107 schools out of the almost 4,000 schools in the province. So you can see we still have a long way to go. But we started small, then maybe we will gain momentum as we go along. We welcome funders or donors to partner with us on this journey. like I've indicated, the government has got challenges with funding, and you know the president, the Minister of Finance has indicated that budgets have to be cut because there's no money to run SOEs, SAA, ESCOM, and them. So where do they get the money except to cut from government? So even if we have started, it will take us quite a long time to address all our schools, to cover all our schools. So we would appreciate the State Department if they could be donations from farmers for assistance of any form. Just engage us if you are in. And I think that will assist the department in bringing digitization for our schools and our learners. And in the end, once our learners are into digitization, then our learners becomes the community in a few years to come. So I think that's the gradual way of digitizing the community and society.
I just want to respond very quickly. So you don't have to look at funding specifically. So I want to touch on a previous point that you raised about CETA. CETA, that we have to work with CETA. So remember, CENTEC and BBI are the infrastructure arm of government and rolling out connectivity and infrastructure services. And as sister companies between CENTEC, BBI, and CETA, we can do these kind of things. We already have public state infrastructure, like the DM mentioned. We have infrastructure that is being rolled out by ESCOM, we have infrastructure that is being rolled out by SAMO, we have our own infrastructure. We can leverage all of these things to provide services. And it's about changing. Yes. I love the comment.
Yeah, continue. I was just telling you that you just committed. CENTEC is here to help.
Yes. So we are sister companies. That's what I'm saying. We're not bound to CETA. CETA, BBI, and CETA are sister companies. And we are state. So you should be using state infrastructure. Okay, I'll leave it.
I'm going to open the floor to some questions. If there's any person who have questions for the panelists. My goodness. Okay, I have the first question from the DM and the second question then.
Mine is not a question. I'm sitting here and I'm bleeding because of our GTO in limpopo, Department of Education. Rural provinces have been prioritized by national government through its entities, CENTEC, CETA, BBI, the SA Connect program. If we can go into the disabled, schools of the disabled in Vembe and other areas, MTN has connected that without the department being asked a cent. Vodacom has done it. Celsi has done it. Now the challenge has been they will go, they connect, and then it works for some time, and then the school is expected to foot the bill. There's a clear directive that says you give them 10 megabytes for life. It is now moving from 10 to 100. That's what has been said. Now, Limpopo, you are a rural province, you have competing challenges. Kids are drowning in the toilets. Prioritize that and leave the 4IR issues. We will assist you. You have BBI, you have CENTEC, you have CETA, you have all the telcos, Microsoft, Micro Focus, who else is here? Oracle, Mama. We can tap on all those things. Leave some of these things because even if you can want a drop in the ocean. We will not feel the impact. If you guys want me to go and bring by you now to the Premier and the MEC, I will do that. But when? Go ahead and lose it over. Please.
Thank you very much, Ms. Facilitator. The people that are sitting in the middle, the Centec and the department, the solution sits with you, both of you there. Maybe Centec should be saying, based on what the DM has said this morning, to say the focus should be in Waterberg and Skokwe. Centec should be saying, or maybe what is it that Centec is expecting from the department to do in terms of connecting the schools? We should be starting from there. And what is the expectation of the department in terms of Centec? And move from that point. There are certain things that I know Centec would want the department to do so that they should be able to connect those schools. It's a marching order that we're given this morning. So to stop this thing as a talk shop, let's walk out here with something tangible that Centec can do in terms of connecting the schools in Waterberg and Skokwe district. And both of the parties should be able to come to an agreement to say, how do they move with that in terms of connectivity? Thank you.
Greetings to everyone. My name is Marshall Malo. I'm from Mamelodi Sundowns. I also observed in this province. I just wanted to ask a question. I hear everyone is speaking about the connectivity in schools, but we still have a challenge as well. Where if you are in Gauteng, parents are able to follow up on how their children are doing at school on their cell phones. There is an app that is there that is put in schools that will assist. We don't have that in Limpopo. So I want to check with whoever is relevant, the solutions, if they are there, how are we going to implement them? Because we know we can come here and speak beautiful English, but there is no implementation. It's been a long time when we've been hearing these things, but there is nothing that is happening on the ground. We have heard about a lot of budgets that are there, but we don't see anything. So how is it that we are going to move forward from here to make sure that whatever that we are speaking here should come to reality? Because we can't be speaking and you tell us about the budgets that are there, but there is nothing on the ground. And the last thing, how is it that we are going to be reaching the poor of the poorest in the rural areas? Because they don't have connectivity. For instance, now, I want to challenge those who are doing broadband in the province now. They are busy in cities, they are not going, we don't see them connecting rural areas. They are putting their broadband in cities. Then so we want to know, because these people who are not having information, what about those in rural areas? What are we saying about them? There is a child in village who cannot even go to internet or access information because they are actually in the deep rural remote areas. So I want to know how we are going to move from here. Thank you very much. God bless you.
I just wanted to find out from the department around the tablets for the school children. The plan, is it about, are they going to own those things for permanently, or are they going to go back at the end of every schooling year so that other kids can use them in the next year like we used to do with the textbooks in the olden days? Furthermore, around the security of such devices, which is the physical security, it's an issue. In the Western Cape, I think they were losing them every year before schools opened. They would be lost and they would be stolen from schools. What is the plan around this when we roll them out as a department? And that's both the online, which is these children will access. Do you have a plan around the security of what they should not access, which may be beyond their age, and as well as the physical security to ensure that these devices are not easily stolen if one has to use that?
Position to answer the connectivity question. From a Microsoft point of view, I'm not deploying connectivity, so I think he'll be best positioned to answer that, or even Centec.
Yes. So we will engage with the department to find out what is their requirements. We have already been engaging with the department to find out what their requirements are from a connectivity perspective. What we need to know is the list of schools and PDF coordinates, and then we will do surveys and find out how we actually connect them. We have a number of solutions, as I mentioned, fixed wireless, fiber broadband, fiber satellite and TV devices that we can roll out. Yes, you're 100% right. Waterberg and that one, yes, are the priority areas that we need to look at. And we are committed. We just need the tasking to get done, and we'll get it done. And I think, as Ian mentioned to the other gentleman in the back, the rural schools are our absolute priority. I mean, we're rolling out through SA Connect in Eastern Cape, KZN, also in Limpopo, I think, and Northern Cape. So the rural schools are, from a Centec perspective and from a BDI perspective, an absolute priority for us. From a public sector mandate perspective, we want to connect those rural schools. So while the private sector might be looking at the metros because it's more commercially viable, we are looking at how do we bring our children up to speed with digital skills. In terms of the tablets, so I'm sure the gentleman will answer, but in terms of our e-learning solution from Centec, our tablets is used on a shared basis, and there are replacements, there is insurance behind it, and also in terms of security, there is physical security, so at the end of the day, it's locked away in a cabinet, as well as in terms of cybersecurity, there are cybersecurity programs that we run in each school, and we only allow children to access educational content or the internet that is free of the harmful things that are there to children. So we make sure that we have those things installed on the laptops and on the tablets and so on. So there's no challenges from the Centec e-learning perspective.
You know, just yes. 14 million tablets. And while that is a noble thing that the president will want to do, little ones will be marked and their tablets will be taken by bigger brothers. So part of it is the tracking. Two, how do we make them different from other tablets so that if we see you, a bigger person with that tablet, we know you have stolen it, it belongs to your child. That's one of the things. And that's what competitions that we can start to run to say, somebody innovate something that we can be able to. But even putting an app that can assist us to track. You know, insurance, yes, it's easy, but you know, we want every learner in the school, 10 million learners with 10 million tablets. It's not going to be easy for us to ensure all those things. So we have to be innovative on how we can track some of those things and make it happen. But two, there's district service delivery model. Waterberg is part of those 3 districts that the president has identified. Now that in terms of connectivity, Waterberg is behind. Use the district service delivery model to motivate, to fast track for some of these things for Waterberg. Not that I was the district mayor there, but I'm just giving you an innovative way of saying, this is how we can speed up the process, and as you do that, then Sikukuni benefits out of it. So motivate from the district delivery model as a pilot program for the president, and then make sure that then Sikukuni benefit out of that. Thank you.
But I think what he's trying to ask is, when we are rolling out these tablets to schools, getting everybody engaged, how do we make sure that the parents and the community become part of the education system of the digital transformation? Because we asked in Johannesburg, kids are already interacting with their parents on their apps, and we're still talking about giving kids apps. But I just want to find out, how do we make sure that whatever you're rolling out, and then DM asked that even when she started, how do we make sure that the parents are also educated in this transformation, because cybersecurity, there's so much that can happen to a child carrying a tablet. What are you doing with this rollout of yours to make sure that parents are part of the program?
That's a very good question. So in terms of the schools, when we connect up the schools, we connect up the communities around the schools, like they're about maybe about 100 meters away, all the houses around the school. But you're right, we need to look at a way in which we actually educate those parents with the kids with the tablets. We need to educate the communities around the schools more with regards to digital skills, how their children should be using this equipment, how the children should be accessing the content, what should they be looking out for and so on. So that's some of the considerations that we actually need to look at.
Is this responsibility set? Is it kind of your responsibility, or should we say they should be doing it?
I think we need to look at all government entities. So as I understand, the MISA is also responsible for digital skills. And there are other government entities that do skilling as well. But from where we are sitting, we do it for the actual users of the technology. But I think we need to look at who can we leverage to assist us in doing it going forward.
In your closing remarks,
Thank
you
you.
want to tell us why you're doing what the government should be doing?
It's like all the questions were directed to education. But it's fine. We welcome the comment by the GM.
We have 1 minute.
Oh, okay. On the issue of the app where the parents can communicate with the school on the school children's progress. In the department, what we are currently doing is we are developing a module of a system called SSMs to be in a position for the parents to interact, to check their learner progress whilst at school. There was also another issue of security of the gadgets that we have given to the learners. Okay, the learners will be given the tablets at the beginning of the year. At the end of the year, they will be returned to the school. Because if we let them go, then it means we have to buy another batch the following year. So that we can reuse them for at least a few years before they become outdated. Now, security is always a challenge. But we cannot say because security is a challenge that we don't provide. Because there will never be a time when security now is up to date. So we just have to provide. If they steal them, then we'll find ways of replacing them. But what as a program we're also doing, I think the security cluster is also trying to also come up with ways in which they can give up security in our schooling environment, so that once we provide those guys to those schools, at least there is some level of security. Even if they are stolen, but there will be a way in which maybe the thieves can be traced.
Thank you very much to my panelists. And I just want to say that I think we all agree that we need lots of women capital investment to make sure that our people are changed mindset and they are really transformed. Thank you very much.
I was thinking as a citizen the whole time I was here. To me, everyone mentions products and services, but let me tell you this. Because we've got a data center here that we've invested as Microsoft in South Africa. So when you talk about these cybersecurity challenges in these templates, they should be on the Azure platform. That's what I'm going to say about Microsoft. Here, the data sovereignty, all these issues are sorted out. So don't worry about those things. It's all sorted out.
Thank you, Param and your team. Stephen is taking chances now with his Microsoft data center. Let's call him Junita. Welcome, Junita, the CEO of FGTX. Always looking beautiful.
You give me points. Team, always nice to see you. I'm scared. Thank you, Ms. Karebe, for having me. I just want to say I think it's really phenomenal to bring this conversation to the provinces. I think really, if everybody will join me in just giving a big hand clap. I know exactly how much hard work this is, and I really think it's phenomenal that you do that. And Dean, you taking the time out, we know what your diary looks like. I know, I can't get a meeting. But thanks everybody for having me. I'm just going to talk a little bit today about the fibre optic industry and really what is happening on the ground. I just want to get some of my notes on so that we can talk about it. So I started the FTTX Council 10 years ago. It's an industry association that works with all the stakeholders within the fibre industry. When I started and I spoke to somebody 10 years ago and I said, I'm looking to do something different, what can I do in the industry? And they said, no, you must look at fibre and maybe get into fibre. And at that stage I thought it was something that was in your diet and that you eat and that keeps you healthy from the inside. But over the last 10 years, I've learned a little bit more about fibre optic infrastructure, and it's really exciting stuff. And I want to share with you a little bit of information today so that you can also go out there and get yourself ready. I drove through the streets of Polokwane earlier today, and I see that there's some boards up there. I'm sure the streets have, they've started digging up the streets, which is, on the one hand, very frustrating, but if you're in the telecommunications industry, we have a saying, everybody complains when their cell phone reception is bad, but nobody wants to live next to the tower. Everybody complains and everybody wants fibre, but nobody wants the streets dug up. So unfortunately, if we want some of these things, it's a little bit about like the highway between Pretoria and Joburg, Today it's fantastic to drive on the highway, 6 lanes, woohoo, hardly any traffic congestion. But there was a couple of years where we had to put up with it. Construction, it was frustrating, everybody complained, and now it's wonderful, like any highway that's being built. And the fibre industry is busy building these super highways, and in order to get that in the ground, unfortunately there's some disruption that takes place as part of that. And part of that is the digging up of the ground. But where is the fibre industry today? There we go. So let's first talk about why fibre. So fibre is a super fast internet using a fibre optic cable, which I think Nomso is probably better suited to speak about since she's the nuclear physicist. But a fibre strand, one fibre strand is the thickness of a human hair. And the data then literally travels over these pieces of glass strands at the speed of light. And it's unlimited in what we can do with it. So the reason why there's so much popularity around fibre infrastructure is because we call it the future-proof infrastructure. There's nothing that's better and greater than fibre right now. Does that mean that fibre must be everywhere? No, it's impossible. And we're going to get to that just now, because it's very, very expensive to put in the ground. Not the fibre. The fibre actually is not expensive. The glass is not the expensive part, and the plastic, and that's not the expensive part. The expensive part is the physical, civil work to dig the trenches and to get it in the ground. But it's also in that lies where the opportunity is. 10 years ago when we started out, the press at the time almost ridiculed us. It's like, they always compare us to other continents. Oh, this is Africa. What makes you think we're going to have fibre? Nobody in Africa is going to have fibre. What do you people think you're doing here? This is the mobile continent. And in 10 years, we have shown that we have the ability to build an entire industry that has employed and is employing thousands upon thousands of people, and our estimates and the work that we're doing in our research show that they've invested approximately 80 billion rand in fibre infrastructure. And I'm going to get to what the investment potential is now when we get to the next generation of technology. Fiber is also green, right? Made of glass, sand. So it's no more mining, no more copper mining required. It's a future-proof, and it is the backbone medium of almost everything. So almost every technology requirement, good Wi-Fi needs fiber, mobile connectivity needs fiber. So few people know this, but the first fiber that was deployed in the country was really just to connect the base stations. It was at the time where we started going into 4G and LTE and data became available. People moved on to smartphones, and the traditional towers couldn't cope with the demand for fiber for data. And the only way that they could help the towers was to start connecting the towers with fiber. A little while later, the operators then sat back and they looked at these maps of their fiber that were running along the streets, connecting the towers, and they thought, sure, we're in a lot of places. Why don't we start connecting businesses? Next thing, they started connecting businesses, and they brought out what's called FTTB products, fiber to the business, which is actually fiber to the building. And the next thing, somebody said, now we're going through all these suburbs, to all these business parks, why don't we start connecting the homes? And that's where fiber to the home started becoming really popular. So maybe it's not so popular yet in some of the more rural or tier 2 towns, but it's certainly very popular in the cities, and it's growing. And we're going to have a quick look just at how that is growing. So I just want to quickly touch on what the aims are of what we do as an industry association. So we form part of a global association. There's 5 associations around the world. There's the one in the US, the one in Europe, Asia Pacific, the Middle East and North Africa, and the Americas. And we do a lot of combined work together, and we do global papers together, research papers. One of the things that we do that's really important is when you are in a new industry like this one, there's always like a lot of new words that come up. And what are these new words? Africa is responsible for the document, but some of the other stuff that we do is we work with government. We create awareness for the plight of the fiber industry. We were very excited this year to listen to Sona and the president talking about setting up a task force to look at some of the issues that are taking place on ground level. And as much as there is a way in which we need to ensure that communities are involved, and I categorically want to state this, that communities need to be involved in their own areas. They need to be empowered to deploy their own infrastructure. That's critical in moving the industry forward. But there's ways and means of doing that. We cannot have people held at gunpoint. We've lost people. People have been shot. There's hijacking, there's syndicates. So yes, the community needs to be involved, but the criminal elements need to be removed. And that's something that we're working hard on achieving, and we're trying to find ways of bringing some normality to the industry, because it's not just, all construction is suffering under that, but it's holding back some of the deployments, and it's holding back investment, and that's a big concern. So we also engage with municipalities. I don't know if the Polokwane municipalities here, but there's the ongoing conversation around what should the cost of a way leave be. Is it the city of Tshwane's 250,000 rand per way leave? It's not that. It can't be. You can't pay 250,000 rand for a way leave to put 50,000 rand fiber in the ground. It makes no sense. So that's the other side, but there's also an opportunity for municipalities to derive revenue out of this. But we need to find that middle point in terms of what does that look like? How do we come together? How do we speak to each other? How do we find each other? Municipalities, for instance, can derive revenue out of their street furniture and renting out street furniture, making way leaves easier and more accessible. And yes, there is a number on a way leave. A way leave has got a value, but we need to agree on what is that value. We need to have standardized processes, because the sooner we can standardize the process for getting the wayleaf in the hand, the faster we can start deploying infrastructure. And one of the things that we find is in the more rural areas, the tier 2 areas or tier 3 areas, is that very often there's almost no process. So you've got to start from scratch when you engage with municipalities to educate them and to drive awareness through them and to then almost help them put a process in place. So we've got to move on with that and make sure that we move forward as an industry. So how does South Africa compare to the rest of Africa? And this is really exciting stuff. So South Africa is by far the leader when it comes to the deployment of telecommunications infrastructure. We are, if you look at this, our research looks at several countries in sub-Saharan Africa. That's our focus. And out of the 6 countries, there's slower movement, and then there are countries that are really waking up, and there's a lot of things happening. We know right now Ethiopia is looking at appointing more telecommunications licenses out. Kenya is quite a strong market in terms of deploying telecommunications infrastructure, quite progressive policies. But the interesting thing about South Africa is that the investment seems to be there. So there's a lot of money that's flowing through the industry. It's a very expensive industry to be in. I don't know if you guys know the numbers, but for every connection point it costs anywhere between 8,000 and 12,000 rand. So we talk about these endpoints or these FTTH connections. In our mind, whether that's a business or whether it's a home, for us it's an endpoint. So it's still quite expensive to deploy, but the numbers are coming down. So in Africa also there's still a lot of 2G networks, even in South Africa. It's not acceptable. If I could have one word that must be thrown into the swear word pile, it's 2G. 2G must become a swear word. We shouldn't talk about it. We shouldn't brag about 100% penetration because it's right up there with every other swear word. You must scrub your mouth if anybody uses that word, soap and water. In a lot of the other African countries, for instance Nigeria, Nigeria, Lagos has got what, 22 million people just in Lagos. So there's this mammoth opportunity there. And Nollywood, we spoke about local content earlier, Nollywood is bigger than Bollywood and it's bigger than Hollywood. So the local content market is phenomenal what they do. But still they lag quite a bit in the deployment of infrastructure. So there's about 40 territories in Africa that have deployed commercial fiber networks, but a lot of the funding is still international funding, and therein lies an opportunity, especially for some of the companies in South Africa that have learned some lessons. Now South Africa, I don't know how many of you know how many companies there are that are just deploying fiber networks. At least 50 fiber network operators. A lot of people think that there's just a few of them. There's actually 50. And some of the trends that we are seeing are people that are doing build and transfer. So they build the networks, they acquire the wayleaves, they do the network planning, they dig the trenches, they put the ducts in the ground, and then they sell those networks to the bigger players that are quite keen to look at this. It helps them, it gives them a bit of agility and helps them to move forward and acquire networks without having to go through the cumbersome process of deploying it themselves. One of the other things that's interesting in South Africa is that there's still a lot of funding available. So if you've got a good story to tell around your fiber strategy, chances are that you will get some funding. So here's the numbers. So our research are conducted once a year in June, and then this information is then released in October at our annual fiber conference. So in June of 2019, just short of 1.5 million homes that were passed, and the connection. Now remember what I said earlier. We don't make a differentiation between homes and businesses. For us, it's a connection. So whether it's a home or a business, a connection is a connection. And approximately 610 611,000 connections, homes and businesses, and then on a billing point of view, just short of 500,000. Now, what's the difference between 610 and 500,000? It means that you can actively switch on your connection, but you haven't, and those versus those that are being billed for a fiber connection. And then if you break it down, the businesses connected, if you want to specifically look at businesses, about 114,535 businesses have taken a fiber service. So why is that cool? Because fiber has a lot of benefits for businesses. For instance, their strategy to move into the cloud. If you've got a good fiber connection, that's great. Right now, it's an interesting thing because everybody's talking about the coronavirus or corona, whatever, the COV1D, whatever it is. And we see some of the strategies that a lot of the global companies are employing, and if you don't love me after this next comment, you're never going to love anybody. But what a lot of the companies are doing is they're giving people permission to work from home. And I think this virus has installed that. As an industry association, it's something that we publicly advocate for. We believe that, if you've got a good connection at home, you should stay off the road, you should work from home, be more productive, no gossip at the water cooler, less pollution in the air, all of those things. People should be measured on their outputs and not necessarily on being in the office. And we always say managers think they witness productivity when they see people in the office. You don't witness productivity, you're only witnessing presence. So it doesn't mean people are productive. Their Facebook is up to date and everything else. But so we need to get to that next stage. So we encourage people to be more productive, to work from home. I've worked from home for the last 10 years. My team works from home. We are in constant contact. If anything, we've got a problem to stop working in the day because your office is there and all the stuff is there. You tend to just keep going. But certainly productivity is much higher, morale is much higher, and then of course now the spread of disease. And the coronavirus has just highlighted the fact that it's not just these severe diseases. It's a common cold and flu and all the things that are going around in the office. That it's interesting. I think Amazon have now told all their staff that in at least certain parts of the world to all work from home, and it's something that they're going to enforce now on a larger scale. And we hope that South African companies will mature to the level where we will see a bigger adoption of this as well. So just to look at the fiber market sorry, I changed it here, I didn't change the date. So there's just the numbers in terms of the homes passed, the total connections, and between businesses. So this is just what the landscape looked like. We've seen significant growth, and it's still a very exciting market for the investors. As an industry association, we also host an annual Investors Day, where we present to the banks, some of the commercial banks and some of the equity investors, and we talk them through the market because there's still a massive amount of appetite. They're still seeing this as a growing industry. It's still a baby. There's still a lot of opportunity. But for an industry this young, it's had significant merger and acquisition activity. We've seen Supersonic or MTN acquire Smart Village, Vumatel acquired Fiber Roots, Liquid acquired Neotel, DFA acquired SADV. Not long after that, DFA acquired Vumatel last year, CPOM acquired Fiberco. So a lot of exciting activity in the market, which is always indicative of an industry where there's a lot of investment and dealing. Also, one of the things that we've seen in the industry is the entry of tower companies. We've seen Helios Towers coming into the market, looking at deploying fiber infrastructure, partnering with a company called Vulatel. We've also, in the fiber industry, we've seen American Tower Corporation partnering with Frog Food. looking at a 5G strategy to deploy 5G. And then there's also a move from the fiber infrastructure companies looking at DCs and wanting to own the ecosystem and their own data centers as well. So just in terms of our global rankings, at a global level we measure the broadband penetration in terms of fiber deployments, and we're very excited to say that in 2017 South Africa entered the global rankings, and although it was quite low, we're in, and we're a force to be reckoned with. And one of the other African countries, a small island called Mauritius, is one in the top 3 in terms of their broadband penetration strategy, and they're doing phenomenally well globally. I think they've got 100% homes passed and businesses passed, and their adoption rate is also right up there. So it's really significant. South Africa is quite unique because I spoke about swear words earlier on. In the rest of the world, this word open access is not a big word. People don't build open access networks, they don't like open access networks, especially in the US. It's something that a lot of people are looking to South Africa to understand more. What does the open access model look like? What's the monetization around open access? And there's some movements now of people sort of, there's an industry association in Europe that's coming out looking at open fiber and how that would work. And in the US, there's very tiny pockets of open access networks being deployed, mainly owned by counties, government-related networks, but still very few of the Verizons, those bigger or massive, in fact, telcos, not really interested in considering, they like owning the whole ecosystem. Then I want to talk now just quickly about the opportunity. So in the last decade, we've seen mobile communications that have gone from being a luxury. Remember, I don't know, I'm giving my age away, but remember the days when you had a phone and it was great. You had a mobile phone, it was really awesome. Today it's like the air that we breathe. When you go out the house, before you check if you've got clothes on, you check if you've got your phone in your hand. It's really important. And that's become like just a part of our lives. We check the news, we check the traffic, we put the maps on, we run our life. Our diaries are on there. Every single thing that we are about is on our mobile devices, and we can't imagine our lives without it, let alone our children. And it's always difficult for me when I talk to parents with children and they want to put in these, I'm going to limit your airtime and I'm going to this and I'm going to that. And it's so tough for this next generation because these kids are, it's born, it's like an arm to them, to have mobile devices. We've got to understand that we are trying to make decisions and rules on the next generation who doesn't understand that. It's like, it's foreign to them why they cannot be socially included in and connected on an ongoing basis and all the time. So I'm not saying it's okay to have your mobile phone on and next to you while you're having dinner or a family event. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying you still have parents, and I read it, and you see these people on Facebook that I've limited my time, my kid's phone time to 1 hour a day, and I'm thinking, duh, you're leaving your kid behind. You're not helping your child going forward. So, I think it's more important, like my colleague was saying, teach them about responsibility in terms of using your social media. Give them the education in terms of handling this, but limiting this, I think, is not really the answer anymore, because everything that we see is going to explode more and more. The uptake is, I think DM was saying earlier, we've gone now from whatever meg it was to 100 megs as the minimum, because that's the requirement. And we've simply seen in the fiber industry, the more people have, the more they consume. You give them 10 meg, they consume 10 meg. You give them a gig, they consume a gig. That's just people use that. So where's the opportunity? So 5G, and I think Nomso spoke a little bit about 5G. 5G promises to connect 1 million devices per square kilometer. Per square kilometer, 1 million devices. So that is massive. It's huge. What is that? That's your house, your street, your whatever. Everything is going to be connected. Your fridge, your television, your front door, every single connection. And then of course there's going to be things such as autonomous driving in certain areas and other applications that will make use of 5G. So what is required for 5G? Super low latency, super high speeds. How do you get that? Fiber. The only technology that can give you this is fiber. So we always say when we talk out there that wireless networks are not going to be wireless anymore. So you're going to have a fiber connection every 150 to 200 meters where you have your 5G antenna will have to be backhauled. Our research that we've done in terms of just what the market needs is if you take what we've done over the last 10 years, we will need to do approximately 10 times that to achieve the densification that is required for 5G. And that's where the opportunity lies for fiber still to be deployed going forward. And I think that that's where the exciting part is. I just wanted to quickly show you, just in terms of the visual, what does it look like? If you look at the 3G connections within a radius, going to 4G, and then the requirements for 5G, what that looks like. So really exciting, massive opportunity still for investment in fiber. I don't think this is going to happen in the next year or so, and I also don't think the MNOs are going to push 5G and the adoption of 5G. I think it's going to be organic growth. They'll try and sit it out and sweat LTE for as long as they can. And I also think that the first 5G ready device that's going to come out now, I'm not sure on the Apple side, but I think that the S20 from Samsung is a 5G ready device. So there's going to be a gradual adoption of that. So just, I'm not going to harp on this slide in terms of 5G, but 5G really is going to touch on every single one of these industries. It's just phenomenal. If you just look at things like online shopping already, it's crazy what you can buy. I mean, you can buy anything online. And then, yeah, that's the exciting stuff from my side. See if they're going to kick me off the stage.
Guys, I want to take a few questions. I think two. That's not. That's why I'm pushing to finish so that we can get a few from the audience, whether you're a listening audience. Any questions?
Not one.
Told you 2 questions.
Debates around health issues. Do you have anything to say about that? Evidence that it's harmful, but maybe just give us what we know as far about.
Another question?
Similar to this, but based on environmental and animals. So what is the effect on bats and creatures and animals due to the 5G antenna system?
So in South Africa, I want to tell you that the mobile network operators and anybody that does any broadcasting is strictly governed by rules in terms of how far base stations must be away from people and the proximity to schools and churches and everything else, places of worship. And I'm not really the right person. I think you would be better suited to answer this question. But I know that you don't have to be concerned about emissions from mobile towers. What I want to say though is that a couple of years ago, I think 2 years ago, the World Health Organization retracted their statement that said that the emissions are not harmful to human health. They didn't say that they think it's harmful. They said that they felt that further research needed to be done. So, do I make my daughter switch her mobile phone to flight mode at night? Yes, we encourage it strongly. You know, I think we need to use our common sense as well. But I think that in general our lifestyles are terrible and we live very unhealthy. I think that that's just one of the small problems. In any case, you know, most of us have got Wi-Fi at home and it's throughout the house. So it's going to be tough. I don't know. But you know, follow the World Health Organization. I think, you know, they're sort of the most up-to-date authority on this. But I can promise you that in South Africa you will not be allowed to build a house, nor will a tower be built within a proximity to you that is considered harmful. So that's governed by law. So, and that's all 5 MNOs, mobile network operators, have to adhere to that. I'm not sure about the result on 5G, but I would think that there will be very strict ways in which that's managed. Tomorrow and Friday, I'm actually with the Human Rights Commission on the where the Human Rights Commission is getting involved in the 4th Industrial Revolution, and maybe this might be some of the topics that will come out of that, to have a closer look at this and how this is managed. But yeah, I don't know. Do you want to stab at it? No, it's a tough one, but I think for now we're sort of safe. We're not growing worms or strange things yet. Oh yeah, you can sign up for memberships here outside of the station. No, I'm joking. You can go and look at our website, www.ftxcouncil.com, and yeah, Centex not a member, we know that. Yes, I'm going to visit us tomorrow. And yeah, we're in the process. I'm not really supposed to talk about this, but we are working hard, and we've been working really hard on setting up an accelerated fund to support the development of SMMEs. I don't know who of you have seen the latest statistics in terms of the jobs that are needed in South Africa in comparison to the world, and still the bulk of the jobs are trades, technicians, so massive job opportunities, and maybe not for the professionals in the room, but what I'm saying is that as a country that with 40 whatever odd percent unemployment, whatever the statistics is, 20 whatever that is, there's still huge opportunities. So we've got to develop, number one, SMMEs, critical SMMEs have to be developed, and skills there's a huge skill shortage within our industry. We've got about 6 training schools, and you can't get in to the next 3 courses. They are jam-packed full. Really, there's still massive opportunities within the fiber industry for the development of skills and people. So you're welcome to get my contact details from the organizers, or it's on our website, and contact me. We can refer you to people. There's some really great success stories that have come out of the industry, and it's going to pick up. We had a bit of a slowdown, but it's going to pick up as we prepare for deploying the fiber required by 5G. Thank you. Always nice to see you guys. Thanks, everybody.
Ciao, Nativa.
Afternoon. Limpopo, and all those that are coming from Gauteng, and all those that are in Limpopo. I'm going to spend time to share with you what we've done at Transit around our digital transformation journey. But I think the essence of the presentation is to, one, share the lessons learned, what we've been doing, what's critical, what's worked for us, and hopefully the learners can also then obviously, and the takeaways from the presentation can be adopted in other businesses. So the topic is basically how to digitally transform a business based on what we've done. In terms of what I'll cover is high-level overview of Transnet. I'll also just touch on what our new GCE co-chair Debbie touched on in the media, especially in terms of our focus areas. Why it's important that actually there resonates in terms of why digital transformation is critical. I'll touch on our strategic intent. I'll take you through a simplified digital framework that we've adopted. Take you through the technology, because I think that's exciting. People want to see what we're doing in terms of the technology. And then I would then want to just share with you, if time allows, what we've done in terms of the initiative, but more importantly, what's the bit of having fun when you're actually then running a digital transformation journey. And I'm hoping that the topics that I'll cover will then give you an opportunity and insights of what we've been through as Transnet and what other businesses can also then adopt. In terms of Transnet, South African state-owned company, I've just covered some of the areas in terms of our business functions. More important, the ones that are touched by digital. So we've got our Transnet state-owned company, and it's got 6 businesses. So I've touched on the top, or the most important 4. Starting with Transit Engineering, that's our engineering department. They manufacture and maintain. So you can imagine technology is actually critical in terms of ensuring that our factories are automated. 3D printing becomes very critical in terms of inventory management when we're actually doing those processes. Transnet Freight Rail, that's our logistics business, our freight transportation business. Digital transformation becomes key, especially some of the successes we've had in for example, building a 375 wagon train. So you can imagine trying to just track and trace that train in terms of the customer consignment, how important it is to be able to have digital technology to assist you. The current manual processes, you have actually somebody walking of a 4-kilometer train, actually checking, for example, the wheels on the wagons. So when you start introducing digital transformation and the technologies available, like IoT and sensor, it makes it actually more an optimized process in terms of, for example, maintenance, etc. So I'll share that with you in terms of what we're doing there. We've got transit port terminals, that's our ports. I think most of the colleagues, those that actually watched, for example, Carte Blanche in November, end of November, there was a focus in terms of the performance of the ports and the challenges and bottlenecks that we're actually having in the ports. And hence why the ports being the point of entry or exit into South Africa, and our the economic engine of South Africa is very critical to ensure that those processes are optimized. So I'll touch base in terms of what we're doing there. We've got then our gas and fuel business in the pipelines. And then we've got other businesses like our property, for example, our capital projects. So in a nutshell, we mainly South Africa, but we also then operate in Africa. One of our strategies is actually then to venture into Africa. So these are some of the countries we are actually working in. And I think what's exciting about these new ventures is that there's an opportunity to actually then lay and design processes that are actually then transformed. Whereas when you look at Transnet, for example, it's a 100-year-old organization. So you can imagine the processes or the manual processes that we actually then have to optimize in terms of the challenges we're faced within Transnet. So in terms of what we're focusing on, having a new GCE come on board, we're focusing in terms of customer service. We're looking at how we improve our service delivery across the country, across the business units. And obviously there, data availability, performance, real-time track and trace becomes a key enabler. People are always at the heart of what we want to focus on. So in terms of engagement platforms, what we want to do to connect with the organization, the sentiments of the people, because we want to also mirror the customer service experience with where our people are. Asset utilization is very key. We're a very asset-intensive organization, and in terms of the health of our assets becomes critical if we want to be able to move the consignments through the value chain within South Africa. Safety, because we're an operations environment, safety, making sure that people are safe, the train drivers are safe, and some of the technologies that we can actually then start introducing in terms of, for example, wearables, for example, to just make sure that we're actually on top of things in terms of the safety of our employees. And I think the other one is cost control in terms of how we start then managing the operational costs within transit. And I think for me, these are opportunities that we have as a digital and IT community to see how we can best support the business imperatives of Transnet. So going into what we want to do, or what we vision in terms of IT or digital community in Transnet, we want to obviously allow digital transformation to redefine Transnet of tomorrow. But I think before we can do that, we actually need to ensure that if you look at the way Transnet runs across South Africa, we actually need to ensure that internally we take the organization through a transformation journey. We need to reform our operations to meet our customer needs. I mean, our customer needs are fast changing. For example, we've got a key customer, Maersk. They partnered with IBM to use a TradeLens blockchain platform. So, I mean, we have to respond as strong that if we want to ensure that we optimize the service delivery to Maersk, for example. Our operations need to actually be transformed, and when we say operations, it's the business operations, but more importantly also our IT operations. How do we then as IT also optimize our processes to ensure that we are ready to actually deliver to the business requirements? Externally, we also have to ensure that we focus on our external customers. How do we then enable digital savvy products to our customers? How do we ensure that we provide visibility of our performance to our customers? How do we protect our consignments? Ensure that we actually then build the trust within our customers. We also then obviously need to take advantage of the technologies to also then redefine our value proposition. And when we go through some of the frameworks that we are trying to adopt, we've actually acknowledged that it actually impacts also, or gives you an opportunity as an organization to also review your value proposition. And that's what we want to take advantage of. What we want to do, obviously, in building the Transnet of tomorrow, take advantage of the digital technology. So, for example, we've got 3D printing, we've got virtual reality. So imagine trying to train a train driver. It takes 18 months to actually upskill a new train driver to operate a new locomotive. So in Transnet, we've introduced new trains maybe every 3 to 5 years. So if you want to understand the impact of training a train driver, you actually take somebody out of the business for 18 months to upskill them on a new train that you are actually introducing into Transnet. So technology such as virtual reality actually then assists us to accelerate the training. So what that does then, it reduces the time and removes the train driver from business, and it actually then helps us obviously to then optimize our crew management and resource management in terms of delivery of our organization. We want to take advantage of AI. So one of the models we've built, for example, is how do we project our performance in terms of volume generations. This has helped us because sometimes we sit around boardrooms and start looking at data, and depending who has got what set of data estimated, for example, the volumes. Obviously, we've got predicted volumes in terms of our targets, but you want to be able to forecast beforehand what is actually going to be the achievements of our targets, so that we engage with our stakeholders. For example, DPE, we've got actually a solid engagement conversation supported by data and facts that we can actually then use. IoT becomes critical. Platforms like engagement platforms for our customers, engagement platforms for our employees becomes critical. Technology such as drones are very important. If you look at what's happening on our pipelines currently, we've got fuel thefts, which becomes our security challenge. We've taken advantage of drone technology, for example, to be able to protect and surveil the pipeline. But you want to also then embed IoTs in terms of where the thieves are actually then targeting on that pipeline to be able to then alert us when there's actually then temperament on our pipeline. So I think from our operations, digital technology becomes very key. We do aspire to transform Transnet, and I think my colleague has spoken before in terms of the criticality of connectivity. In terms of achieving this actually becomes more important now because of the fact that we want to take advantage to re-engineer, to reaffirm our commitment in terms of Transnet to our customers in terms of delivery, exporting and importing some of the products to ensure that we support the South African economy. Apologies, I'm not sure what happened to the circle in the middle, but basically what I wanted to share with you is a simplified framework that we've actually adopted that we want to look at. I think what we learned in transit, digital being a buzzword, everybody, obviously most of the consulting companies was coming and trying to sell how they can help us transform, what are the best practices to use, what are the models available, what are the frameworks, but we then engaged with some of my colleagues, I think they're here from Baweshi, who actually helped us to simplify a framework, and it's nothing new in terms of the principles that we're adopting, where basically the transformation strategy, what we decided to do in terms of we called it a framework and not necessarily a strategy. The reason why we've done that is because of the maturity of digital within transit. We wanted to make sure that we were not aggressive. We've been on the journey for 3 to 4 years. We started big bang, we were very aggressive in the past. We wanted to share the technology, but when the organization is not ready to receive, we then get compromised. So we decided this time, because we want to succeed now, we've tested the technology, we want to now actually give the business opportunities and advantage of technology. So what we decided to do is just simplify it so that we communicate with them to get that buy-in. It's actually from a place that is simple, we're not technical, we're not saying IoT, we're not saying cloud, we're not saying AI and all these acronyms, so that we can get the business on board. So we went back to basic principles and we're saying, obviously our strategic direction will help us. So if you look at those 5 focus areas, it gives us a focus area in terms of the IT community, where we want to focus on, for example. So the strategic goals we obviously need to define, and we do that on an annual basis. We've got what we have a corporate plan, we've got commitments with our shareholders, and from those we then want to ensure that we articulate what the performance indicators are from a business side, but we also then mirror those with basically from an IT or technology side, where we then have achieved with business to actually digital transform. What will that look like? So we wanted to spend time understanding what the current KPIs are, but more importantly, after you've actually transformed your business, what are these KPIs that you should also be looking out for? Because of the fact that digital transformation is the order of the day. Technology has been in the business for many years, but I think what's different now is the area we're in with the 4IR. So how do we then articulate to a business owner, to a CFO, that I've actually transformed your business digitally? Whereas you've actually maybe put SAP in place. Is having SAP in place actually a digital transformed initiative, or is it just an automation? So I think that's what we wanted to do in terms of defining key performance indicators that will help us monitor, track, that will actually then achieve transformation. And obviously then you need to assess your digital capabilities in terms of the readiness, the leadership, the skill sets, etc. And I think what I liked about the framework what was new is that it introduced a measure of risk that actually also needs to be part of the process. Normally you get a 5 or 6 step process, but it actually doesn't talk to the risks that you actually need to manage as you actually go into the transformation strategy. Because remember, when you're transforming a business, you're also impacting operations, for example, you're impacting performance. So it's very critical to ensure that you also then measure your performance risk in alignment to the KPIs that you would have defined, to ensure that you're still then on the right track to then obviously attain your strategic goals. From that, we then have a portfolio of initiatives, and I think within Transit, that's what we do best. We actually have a list of initiatives, but sometimes we find that we missed a couple of steps in terms of these initiatives. What is the achievement of them? What is the impact and benefits to business, especially when you're talking about digital transformation? So we normally start on the 4th step, and I think what I like about this framework is actually took us a step back so that your storyline is actually in line with what business are actually also then talking about. I think for me, implementation also is what we do. Whether we succeed or not, I think as an IT community, implementation and success is something that we tend to differ with business. But I think those two last steps are something that we're actually mature in as an IT community, whether it's worldwide or within Transit. But I think what we started doing is looking at the first 3 steps. And to support that, obviously there's details behind this, where you start breaking down the framework in terms of people, processes, tools, and obviously your artifacts and policies that need to change. So I think I wanted to share with you in terms of our mindset, how we are approaching it as Transit. Not too aggressive, but we do acknowledge that we're in a digital era. How do we now bring business on board? Because I think the IT community is confident now that we're ready. But we can't actually succeed without our business partners. And how do we then bring them on board to ensure that we then succeed? So 2 or 3 years ago, we started building a technology stack in terms of what it looks like. The technology stack then translated into our roadmap in IT. So I think for me, we started at the bottom. Things obviously are going to change. Your EA approach is going to change. Enterprise architecture approach is going to change. What does that look like? Do you have a architecture for IoT, for example? Do you have an architecture for IoT, for machine learning, who owns what? So you actually have to go back and review what I call traditional functions of IT when you're talking about digital, because those are also going to change. The security and governance, we've got POPI, we've got GDPR, we've got cybersecurity issues. What does that need to look like? What needs to be reviewed? Those are areas that you also need to go back and look at. I touched on the importance of connectivity. It's very critical in terms of being able to optimize the processes with technology. I mean, the world is talking about driverless trains. We're not there yet. I think in South Africa we still need to also support the notion of employment. But what is that then handshake that we need to do in terms of allowing our operations to be transformed versus basically taking advantage of the technology? Obviously data centers, on-premise could be things of yesterday, but some of the solutions are not ready, obviously, to be migrated to cloud, for example. But cloud is here as well. How do you then take advantage of that? And once then your framework, what I call the traditional infrastructure of IT is then solid, and within Transit where we are now, we're trying to also ensure that our foundation is solid before we can aggressively drive transformation within operating divisions. So for example, our network, we're trying to fix that. Wi-Fi connectivity in our remote areas, what does that look like? We're trying to address such issues. Our data centers, how do we then start looking at private cloud? Because we're state-owned, what does data security look like? What does the hosting look like? All those issues we're trying to sort out. Once that's done, your cloud orchestration is in place, then you can have fun in terms of taking advantage of the technology. And I think what we tend to do, we tend to rush to the technology, but we don't have a foundation that is in place to be able to then sustain the benefits of what the technologies are. So IoT, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain. I mean, and the emerging technologies change every year. These nanotechnologies, so that those in green will continuously change. And what we're trying to communicate, what I'm trying to communicate here is just make sure that your foundation is solid enough. Because in 2 or 3 years' time, for example, IoT might not be the technology, depending on what the technology roadmap maps look like. But we're taking advantage of it. I think from a Transit perspective, what's critical for us is the network. That's very critical. There's obviously our data center and our hosting strategy in terms of cloud, public, private, etc. Is then IoT, because of the fact that we're asset intensive. That's very critical. Data management in terms of big data, in terms of taking advantage of AI and machine learning, that then becomes very critical. So I think for us, those are the first 5 technologies that we want to ensure that we are 100% confident in terms of skill sets, in terms of processes, in terms of governance. And then the others, I think, will then stem from that. So for example, if you want to look at blockchain, for example, the ports authority, the ports terminal, take advantage of blockchain, because that's where you actually have the interface with SaaS, for example. So blockchain won't be a technology we use across Transit, but there's certain business functions within Transit that will take advantage of, for example, other technologies. But IoT is a fundamental, it's across the businesses. If you look at how we run operations, we rely on assets. So we need to ensure that, for example, we increase and improve the maturity of IoT within the organization. But more importantly, with also our engagement with HR in terms of what does this look like when you also then bring technology into the organization. The next step, I'll just touch on some of the initiatives, and I'm not sure how my time looks like, because I want to go into, I've got 2 minutes. I'll go into the initiative, but I won't go into the detail. But this is just basically an idea of the solutions we've been looking at. I think for me, the exciting one that we actually started looking at is geospatial intelligence, where we start then putting GIS technology, big data into one, and start being able to visualize across South Africa our servitude. So if you look at the train track, 34,000 kilometers across Transnet. What we're taking advantage of when we use geospatial is, for example, the communities that are actually encroaching closer into our servitude. What is that looking like? We actually do daily snapshots. We're able to share that with our property team. We're able to share that with our rail networks team, for example, so that from a property, we minimize the cost that would then be required to basically remove the communities that are too close to our rail track from a safety, in terms of community, keeping the community safe, that actually then assist us. And obviously from a railway maintenance, if there's less commuting on our track, obviously then our maintenance in terms of our railway track is also then managed. I think the last two, I'm going to skip the use cases because I do not have enough time, but I think I wanted to share the slide where it's also an opportunity to have fun. So what we've done in Transnet, we have had digital exhibitions, and I think the lessons learned for the digital exhibition, we had actually had one last year. So we started in 2017, where we had what we call a digital day. We showcased the technology, partnered with business, partnered with people externally to come and also showcase intelligent transit, what the market is doing at that time. What that helped is then the learnings around digital, bringing the external world into transit, and then going from there, we then had the hackathon the next year, and with the hackathon, we actually then had a transit run hackathon, and I think what was exciting there, we had business, people from business putting up their hands to be part of a digital transformation initiative. We had 10 business problems coming from business. We had business people coming in, solving the problems using technology, and I think within 24 hours we had solutions to problems that would have taken us a long time as IT to actually then find the solutions. And I think as we matured, last year we had another successful digital day, and I think as you then mature with your digital transformation journey, you're able to also then give confidence to business that you know what you're doing as an IT community. You start partnering, you start maturing. I think you can see our branding is actually better than when we started because we've got more support. You know, people understood what the digital day is. And I think for me it's very important as a critical success factor to have fun. So I think for me driving the transformation journey with passion is very important. I always say to people, when you go to a doctor and you've got flu, they diagnose you with flu. They're not going to say you've got a stomach or you've got cancer. They'll say it's flu. Somehow in IT, somebody comes with a problem, then we give them medicine for cancer. So I always try to say, as IT people or people driving digital technology, can we invest the time of what actually a doctor goes through to understand and hone your passion, your technical expertise, so that when you then become the advisor, because that's what we are now, we're no more a service provider, we're then advisor to business. We're actually then providing the right advice and support to business. The rest, I think people talk about, resources is critical, leadership is critical, and I think for me, digital influence when people start embracing technology is critical. Thank you.
I think we've built a culture that we ask 2 questions. Any questions? Okay, I'll start here. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. My question is simple. Earlier on, the DM spoke about the fact that Transnet has got fiber, ESCOM has got fiber, and so on. So, aside from the normal usage of your fiber to control the trains and so on, what is your purpose for the rest of the fiber?
Can you remember the map that you had earlier on, whether you had a Transnet office in Limpopo or anywhere in the towns, maybe locally at Polokwane? So I'm trying to work out what opportunities or association to Transnet can this province have with you?
So maybe starting with the fiber. So obviously we've got the fiber to run operations. We take advantage of the fiber for enterprise connectivity, so that's internal. And we do have aspirations to expand that in terms of commercialization. So we're engaging with DPE and DTI in terms of what does the commercialization strategy look like, especially when you partner with the likes of ESCOM and South African Post Office. So that is actually on the table. I think what we're trying to do is then finalize the health of our infrastructure. Our fiber is going through an upgrade. Through the upgrade, obviously, we then have excess capacity for internal and external use. And I think then we'll then have an opportunity to expand in terms of fiber commercialization. But I think for me, what's important is where there is remote areas, for example, how do we then also start inviting communities to also then take advantage of the fiber connectivity to actually also have available. So it hasn't been finalized, but I think it's a conversation we started internally in Transit. And then in terms of our presence in Limpopo area, through our freight rail organization, we've got presence all the way up to Musina. We actually have a relationship with Zimbabwe as well in terms of Zimbabwe Railways as we go through Zimbabwe. Transit engineering also has depots, maintenance depots within the area. So I think in terms of what engagement looks like from partnerships with the local community, I think we have the procurement processes that we normally follow, where we send out to the market, through the National Treasury database opportunities where SMEs can bid and partake to obviously then allow service offerings and commercial contracts with Transit. We also have a strong enterprise supply development program, which the information is available on our website as well. If you actually want to then find out as an SME, how can you then also partake over and above being a supplier to Transit for services, how can you also then partake in such development programs, so also then whether it's training, mentoring, and so forth. Okay. And colleagues, if you want more information, there is an article on CIO.com around what we've done. If you actually just want more information in terms of what we've done in Transit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you stay a bit, just for 1 minute? If you just sit in with you. Thank you, guys.
Yes, good afternoon. You know, when you are the last to present, and I know most of us are very tired, so I'm going to make it very short, and but I'll try to do my best to bring the message home about my paper. I think to the organizers, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to come and share a little bit of what it's not necessarily what I do every day. When you talk economics and you talk engineering, the two marry, but I spend most of my time talking business. and bringing technology into it. In the absentia, GM, afternoon, and to the organizers, as I've said, thank you very much for offering this opportunity. I'm with the National Lotteries Commission, and don't ask me for numbers tonight, because I'm the regulator, so I'm not the operator. I can only ask you to play so that with the money that we collect, I can actually distribute that money back to communities. So just to give a little bit of my organization, as I've indicated, I'm from the NLC. For those that don't know what we do, just 2 minutes just to take you through on who we are. In terms of the NLC, we, sorry, yeah, all right, sorry. Now, we are a state-owned company reporting to the DTI, the Department of Trade and Industry, including competition of late. And the responsibility of the minister is to award a national lottery license, which we all know Ituba. And at the same time, the minister appoints South Africans who are professionals. They call them distributing agencies. The acronym is DA, so don't be surprised when you hear people talking DAs at NLC. It's just an acronym. And at the same time, the minister, as you know, is the political head that directs issues around transformation in our lottery business, so in terms of manufacturing and other related issues. Now with the NLC, once that license is issued, we provide compliance. So we make sure that Ituba, in terms of all the terminals that have been installed, really outdoor, while you look at that terminal, if it doesn't work, you call the NLC and say, guys, we're supposed to be buying and playing this lottery, but the machines are not working. That's where we come in as a regulator. Something similar to ICASA regulating the telecommunication and broadcasting industry. So we do that for the lottery. And at the same time, if amongst us here, we have family members or schools, we want to raise funds, society lotteries, it's not allowed in this country for it. You can just start raising funds without getting a certificate. So we issue those certificates so that you can do those kind of fundraising, either for school or Gamo High as a family. I know most of you, there's always a difference in terms of defining gambling and lottery. It's a very thin line. With lottery, you predict numbers, that's why you play. But with gambling, the machine does everything for you. You put in money and the numbers they roll. So without being too technical, that's how you can differentiate gambling and lottery. Then there are three sectors that we fund. Now this is where it comes relevant to my talk today. We fund a sector called charities. So charities, it includes crèches, I'll use the new name, the early childhood centers. So if some of us here have got an appetite to develop early childhood programs or teaching some of those practitioners, we fund programs that deal with those kind of developmental programs. Then we fund anything to do with arts, heritage, of late, environment, including small-scale agriculture. You can hear it's more about economy as well, trying to fit in. And the third one, still on arts, around heritage. I think most of us here, we always talk about our history. We always talk about our heritage, but there's only one book that has been written, Kabatoba, and Gaspedi. So the question is, why are we not doing that? Because if you want to preserve your own heritage, you must write and talk about yourselves. So that's what we fund. Those who are writers here, you can come and then talk and you can apply. There's a procedure to do that. And lastly, sports and recreation. Mainly people that are involved in sports, from soccer to swimming. So it can be development, coaching, etc. So having said so, I just wanted to demonstrate for as an NLC, the question that you always ask is then how do we stimulate this economy? And where does digital transformation fit in? Now, the NLC has been in existence for the past 22 years now, as of this year. We've been collecting data almost every day when people apply for grants. Now you can imagine in the past 25 years, we've got a room partnership with one of our offshore storage partner. It's just paper. So imagine this room full of paper. That's what we've been collecting for the past 22 years. So what we had to do when I joined 5 years ago, almost every processes within the NRC was paper-based. Starting from leaf, every country in the world talks about respect of environment. The protocols are there. You don't have to reinvent them. So you need to be smart. Find a way of transforming your organization so that you are relevant, so that all these beneficiaries that apply, they can access their information anywhere, anytime, with anything. So that's basically the problem statement that I had to deal with. So it's relevant. We might all ask ourselves a question here, and I think because some colleagues have gone, I'm interested to know, is there anybody from health department here? Just to make my presentation short, I'm going to have equator interactive. Anybody from health or education? Education, yeah. Do you still have paper in all your offices? Why are you still having paper? Can we give you mics? I'm going to make it short. I think...
what we have done is we have developed an app to digitize that content. What we're going to be doing is to scan all those papers so that they are digitized.
So you've scanned?
We haven't done that yet.
But why?
We are in the like I'm saying, I've just started about a year ago. And it's a process.
No. I hear you. That's why I said I'm going to change the format of my presentation. I just want to know why, before you joined, the scanning was not done. Just the basics.
Okay. The adoption of technology then was not technology was not adopted. I'm gradually trying to influence the employees to adopt technology.
Okay. Thank you. I've heard the question. You see, it's very difficult for you to answer. It was very difficult. I think I'm revealing this because it's a question of, are we not transforming because we don't have proper governance frameworks in our organization? Or are we working with leaders that are not ready to take risks and make decisions? Because if you buy a printer, which is a scanner, the question is, as and when a paper comes to your office, what stops you to scan that paper and store it in a cell? So that if that paper gets lost, I can log in and then still read that document. So that's the problem that we need to deal with. It's a mindset. I think one of the critical success factors, if we're talking about stimulating economy through digital transformation, it starts with the mindset. I did deliberately because I just want to make sure that we're not moving either in Limpopo or in South Africa because we don't have money as an investment to buy capital equipment, or is it because we're not getting support from our leaders? So that's one. I skipped many of the slides, colleagues will pardon me. So for me, what becomes important is the issue of knowledge. We cannot talk about transformation if we don't even know what transformation means. Because if I have to transform, it starts with you. I don't see how as a CIO or as a CTO or IT director, you can transform your own organization if the people that you serve within your environment don't see transformation in you. It starts with you. So that's the trick about the current and the future in the space that you are participating in. Another critical factor is being able to articulate your business requirements. I mean, all of us here, I'm sure in all our offices, we've got those printers. I don't know if anybody still has a fax here. But those that still have a fax, the question that we need to answer is, if business is asking that documents get lost, you know, I work for government, memos, they get lost. Now the question is, if documents are being lost on a daily basis, there's technology that can assist that. Now you need to come up with that transformation. It's not about convincing the CFO about getting billions, but it starts with safety. So it's how you articulate your business requirement. I'm transforming the organization because I want to make sure that I protect what we have, because I understand my business. I'm in the health. I cannot afford to have a file sitting somewhere in a room that is not even fireproof. Because should anything happen in that environment, the entire information of your patients is gone. So I think for me, it's about how we define and we engage. The issue of partnership, I was quite impressed to see Translate. I'm part of GTOC, which is Government Information Technology Council. Now I'm going to take my colleague and say, after today, we need to take that architecture and test it and say, why are we through CETA unable to do this? Now, if we don't have those partnerships, as citizens sitting here, we're going to be frustrated every day about service delivery, whereas solutions are here. So I just want to demonstrate the issue that when we talk about transformation, it's about collaboration. You've heard earlier on from the council about 4IR, you've heard from the DM. 4IR is just about collaboration, making sure that there's effectiveness and efficiency in what you do. Now, what is very key, you asked me and said, Motivi, how did you get it right? I think my board believed in me when I presented the business case. I said, if you want to transform the National Notaries Commission, two things that I need from you. You need to have confidence and trust. Now, if you don't trust the person who needs to transform your organization, we will be talking again in the next 25 years. There was a will from the board, the will from my colleagues, and they said, Ramusi, go ahead. So if what we're discussing here about transformation, in government, people talk, DM is not here, but people talk of a political will. You need that. Otherwise, as engineers, as professionals, we continue to talk about change, and it will never happen. It's very important. Then, the issue of choosing technology. I think one of the biggest mistakes that happens when you do transformation. Remember we spoke about an opportunity to develop manufacturing opportunities in our country. Now, localization is quite key in this journey of digital transformation. There are various components that are required in this journey. Is the hardware itself, is the software that goes in there, and the skill set of people that needs to put together this black box. Now, if we don't have a game plan to do that, we will continue to rely on foreign. And then it defeats the issue of cost. Because whatever you bring in, those big servers that we have at CETA, your PCAs for Oracle, it will remain one of the biggest burden in terms of business. Because transformation in the digital environment has got nothing to do with what Motivi can do, but it's storage. Now, who is providing that technology? From the DTI, push has always been localization, localization. So, in this journey, let's not just talk about scanning, putting documents, but let's start unpacking and look at this value chain and say, when you talk about digital transformation, stimulating this economy in this country, where does this chain start? And where does it end? Now, each and every element of this chain, it's money. The president, through Stats SA yesterday, it was announced, we're in recession. Now, how do you change that game, starting today, through this initiative of Digital Summit? Is to identify and know our business end to end. And let's look at those components that we can make money tomorrow. In Limpopo, we spoke about agriculture. It's my village, it's my home province. There are a number of components in the electronics that you can contribute as a province. Just going to Palabora when you look at copper. I mean, how much of copper is in all our PCBs? You know, a printed circuit board will always be there in your every element of your electronics. Now, I think it's becoming important then that when you talk about choosing of appropriate technology, Limpopo needs to identify, other than over and above agriculture, which we spoke about earlier on, tourism, what other commodities can we, through the economic development, start talking to manufacturers and say, this is what we want to contribute. That's how we can stimulate that interest in our value chain. And the last one is you need to know for the scholars, We always talk about SWOT. This province has got its own weaknesses. Perhaps maybe we don't come home and talk as professionals. I think for those that have seen my profile, all the mobile licenses, I think I've got my colleague from Microsoft at the back. I was part of the licensing process. We developed the entire ICT structure in this country. Young as I was those days, but coming from the top, these things can be done. Maybe the weakness is, as a collective, we don't call our children to say, guys, you cannot write national policies, but you can't help the province or the municipality. Because I participate in a ward council meeting in my village. So I think that's the weakness that sometimes I feel we might be having. And then, in this transformational journey, we'll always have issues. So I think it's time that we need to look at our strength to say, who are the people from our province? Can we call them in one room like this and just talk? And that's basically the menu of success, which I thought, when we talk about this subject, I want to encourage all of us. Sometimes we become too academic. That's why my approach today, it's more social. I can talk engineering, but I believe that if I cannot convince my CFO on what digital transformation means for our business, it's going to be difficult to convince any other person, because that's the person who's got the best. So make it simple, make it some funky, and make it practical. Practical. Sorry, my English, I've got team. Now, finally, in my paper, there's chapter 2, which, remember, I started with the journey. The journey continues. There's nothing new that I'm talking. I think I just wanted to bring certain things closer to home. The last thing that I just want to bring to all of us here, we can talk, but training in terms of human capital is key. I cannot talk about stimulating the economy, digital transformation, without getting the University of Limpopo into this room, without getting all the TVEPs into this room, including the government itself, so that we can have a frank discussion around curriculum, alignment, relevance, and building the economy of the province. Because this thing starts with curriculum. The influence that I do now at NLC, all the crutches that we fund, the ECDs, have been vocal to say we cannot be funding infrastructure without looking at the role of ICT, training the kids themselves and the practitioners. So it's a challenge to all the Microsoft partners that are here, the Mimecast, to say, if you have to change this country, it must start at the ECD. Hence, the president was pushing the issue around early childhood center, because if it starts there, transforming kids is going to be easy. They don't look at a printer as something that they can scan their pictures, but they know that other than scanning, this is a very valuable tool, and they'll take care of it. So I think that's how we should do it in terms of education. Number 2, our teachers, we cannot expect to come to the province or other provinces as a top-down. You need to integrate, because these are the educators of us, our children. If they don't know what the future holds, that's the gap that we're having at the moment. So I'm bringing the issue of HCM, human capital development, as a key driver to the success of this journey that we're talking about when you talk about digital transformation. And pardon me, I think this thing is very slow. I'll just go to the last. All right, so in conclusion, the satellite people will understand as well. Sorry for my friend at the back. I know he's asking what is latency. Okay, now, just to conclude my paper, colleagues, what I've said earlier on, I think most of us will know. I think it's a question here for what I asked the Limpopo colleague, why are we not transforming just the department? Is it because you are not getting a buy-in or you don't have the right machine? Because the go-to-market is today. You see now that we've got phones. I always tell my Rahali, she always says, but you're not cheap. You're not like phone, because I've got this small phone and I can still call. The future, which is the current. I don't have to go to the office. You see, if you have to transform in this digital management or digital world, this becomes my office. Because you can locate me, I can respond anywhere, anytime. So imagine all of us if we don't go to the office too. We save electricity, that's an environmental issue. We save driving to the office, that's environment as well with your petrol. So when you talk of digital transformation, colleagues, you must know the style of work is going to change. Now, I listened very clearly when the Minister of Finance talked about wage bill, etc. Now, the question that I had was, you can cut, but if you read the NDP is asking for other things. It's a different skill set. Now, where are these individuals that are going to transform our country? So you need to look at those issues, yes. So, now, with digital transformation, the issue here is, like as I said, it starts with you. You need to own your brand. You are a brand. Now, if you're not going to be seen as a brand, no one will follow you. Communication remains key. Why are you transforming? Is it about saving costs? Is it being smart? Is it being efficient? If you can tick all those boxes and people can see it, like in my environment, when we introduced the e-filing, I mean, I can reveal, I work for Transtel and Siemens, etc., and CSR. Most of the things that I did in the past, last year, they appeared as if they're new in this country. And I realized that perhaps maybe all of us here as engineers and IT, we don't write articles because most of these things are coming as if they're new. 15 years ago, I could still apply for leave at CSR, 20 years ago. I would get an SMS, but today when it's done, it's like GOTV, Viva. It's been there. I think we need to communicate. We need to communicate. It's very important. It's very important. As I said, at NLC, procurement, it's basically everything is fully automated, including leave, as I said, and many others, including asset management and contract management. So I don't want to be saying, let me boast about these things. They've been there, but I've brought some transformation in the organization. And we need to appraise that and say, job well done. Then the issue of production. I've indicated, I think Baldwin is here as our host as well because he's from Limpopo. The issue of production, guys, there's a lot that can be done for this province, plus others. Let's have these metrics to identify all the benefits, elements that we have in our own provinces so that we can contribute to this journey. I mean, Samsung and Apple, I think for those who are doing their scholars research, there's a beautiful partnership that happens. Samsung provides Apple products, but at the same time they compete. So it's not a fact that when you have the mobile operators and when they don't co-opt and cooperate, it's something that needs to change because the future doesn't want that. 4IR says you must work with your competitor. That's the future and that's the current. So it's very important. The issue around 3D, I mean, we have seen the 3D printing machine. Okay, I think organizers, can I request that in the next session, all our exhibitors, let's bring some of these gadgets that we know. You see, we've been talking about 3D. I think Wolverine spoke about it. Let's bring that machine. Let people see it. Because sometimes these things we talk, I know Centec is here as well. Bring a dish next time. Let's put a dish. Let's remember, it's practical. You know, I can tell you as an engineer, I never believed many of the things until I sat in a lock. And I said, oh. So it's very important. That's why 4IR right now is confusing most of our political principles as if it's something new. Yes, it's because maybe we are to blame as professionals that we don't write articles that's paid, vendor, tonga, so that people can understand that this is not new guys. So I'm giving you a challenge. The next paper from this will be presenting that stock. So that's the next challenge. And finally, I think the issue around, I spoke about the office space. Operations is changing in this transformation. We're going to work off office. And that's how we're supposed to prepare ourselves. Now the takeaway message, I think I spoke earlier on, South Africa is in recession. We need to find a way as a collective, especially from the topic that we've been invited here to come and share. How can we convert what we've presented here and make it practical? Because next year when we come back here in Limpopo, we need to come up with a solution. Practical, and then say, this is what we did, we got it out of Limpopo. And my recommendation, in the absence of the DM, because I believe when we go for these summits, we need to give concrete recommendations and way forward. I want to challenge the DM in absence, I think colleagues are here. Being the policy maker, for us to accelerate and stimulate interest, especially when we talk of digital transformation. The good thing is we now have the Ministry of Communication and Digital Technologies. What we need as a country is a digital plan. It must come in a policy format to say, what is it that we need to be digitizing and why? And how are we going to protect that information? There's an issue of governance. There are many departments, you go to transport. I observe something that I keep asking myself, why are traffic officers stopping me, asking for my ID, then he writes, then he goes to my car, he checks the license. Then I ask this lady, why are you doing this? I'm on the record. Now, I said, I'm going to talk to Limpopo, my colleague, Vini. We cannot talk about digital transformation if we still have our traffic officers on the highway. Now, I want to give the challenges. Can we start with that kind of a project? Those that are here with gadgets and software, just donate 5 tablets to the Department of Transport. Tomorrow, let them come to your car, just like as you go to estates, quickly. Then you've got information, it goes to the data set, done. You've changed the analogy. You know, people when they come here driving from Zim, Botswana, they'll say, hey, these guys are transforming. Now, when I walked in here, and I've been saying this to Sun International, I've never been to a Sun International event where there's no payment. I wrote them half a page. I said, guys, I've got an IP. Can you please give me all your Sun International? I'll give you an app. Because in your annual report, you always talk about the environment. But look at paper here. Or big. You understand? I mean, this has to be practical. Because if you come here, give me an app, let's be digital, and let it. And I think that's what the Limpopo government needs to start promoting. Let's stop cutting the trees, because I see many trees on the table. So, what I'm advising organizers, Limpopo, can you come up with a digital transformation project? We spoke about health, agriculture. I think the good minds are here, and I think Baldwin said the same thing. We've been talking, we're advising, we're engaging, which is good. I like it because I've learned a lot today. But can we put something tangible that next year when we come here with all the sponsors that I've seen, Mimecast, Microsoft, and all those that I haven't seen yet on the list, can we put together a team today and call it Limpopo Initiative, including Centec? Because with digital transformation, you need one big brother or system. It's connectivity. The stats that I've seen, in 2012, 100 gigs per second was transmitted for the internet. 2022, it's predicted that 150,000 tera gigs, it's quite a big number. It's projected that in terms of Internet of Things, the world is going at a fast pace, but as I said, the person who can be a bottleneck in this chain, if you don't have a broadband infrastructure. So I'm saying let's go out there, let's consolidate what we discussed today, let's share, let's not be shy to say we don't know. Invite people to come and share like this, which I really appreciate. But let's monitor progress and report back. The GTO is here. Let's help this province through this initiative so that later next time when I go to my clinic, October, I don't have to ask Sister Gehai for my file. I must just walk in with my phone, and Mama Gehai, I can just say, no, I'm here for my medication, can I just collect? Because likelihood is my file could have been lost because of security. So I think let's make it fun. I mean, this thing is possible. As I said, 5 years for me, we've made it, it worked. So the Department of Communication, I'm saying to you, Department of Communication and Digital Technologies, let the journey continue. And as I said, as a professional, I'm always available. Let's avail ourselves and make sure that the theme of today, we implement it, we don't talk about it. That's it from me, and thank you very much.
We have to take a few questions. I think the living legend of limpopo wants to take a few questions, and then we will take it from there before we say one question there.
Mr. Rambusi spoke about when he asked the departments about whether they are still using paper or they are still having a lot of paper in their offices. I think it also shows the true reflection of this province, that we are still very backward. These are the same departments that should be actually making sure that we are up to speed in terms of 4IR. But when you look at what is happening now, it means we are still having a lot of years to implement it. Because now we need to be having, at schools, we need to be having your e-learning. But how can it happen when their own offices are not connected? You understand what I'm saying? How are they going to connect the rest of the province in terms of schools when they themselves are still backwards? We have to start where they are, in the offices of government, so that we know that when they go out, they have the idea of what they are going to implement. So if they are still backwards, then it shows that we still have a lot of work to do. Actually, they should be educated first before they can go out and educate the people at the ground. I don't know if you understand. I understood you very, very, very well. Because some of us, when we are seated here, we listen attentively and we are learning as well. I'm not saying what they're doing is wrong, but we need to actually go with times. I heard President Ramaphosa speaking about the 2030 vision, but according to this province, to be honest, we might actually exceed that. So what I'm saying is, it was not a question. I was just commenting to say you did well. If we can have minds like you, making sure that they intervene in these government departments, especially in Polokwane municipality, they have the same problem. So it can assist us to make sure that we go up to speed, to make sure that we are also connected. Thank you very much.
As always, your thinking and your experience, your wisdom always comes through. I think just 1 or 2 points from my side. So the first thing is that when you talk about the reskilling, that becomes very, very important. And let me maybe make an example, because when we talk reskilling, maybe we're assuming it's just in the public sector and not necessarily in the private sector. At work, as an example, we are forced to go through a reskilling exercise in all the technical competencies, even though I'm not a technical person, but the idea is that how am I going to sit and advise yourself as a CIO, yet I'm not able to meet you where you are? So I'm now forced to go into that space and also understand the business of business. So, because that's the only way that you're going to sit at the right table to be able to have the right conversation. So for me, that's the first thing. Then I think the second thing is that, Limpopo, based on the fact that a lot of if you look at the results, the matric results, and the high school results, a lot of maths and science brilliance actually comes from here. So when you then talk about the opportunity to be able to reskill and be able to get those skills that you are talking about, because you are the one who said that, the NDP says that you have to have a new kind of a skill. And sometimes the born before technologies, we might just have to just say, let's look at you in the sunset years, let's sunset you out, you know, and that's the reality. But we then need to say that, you know, let's then pilot a lot of these programs in this particular province because of the fact that the acumen from a scientific point of view to be able to produce the data scientists and the business analysts and whatever is already there. And then I think the last thing is that certainly I agree that you know, we can't be talking and talking and talking. So the steering committee, whatever you want to call it, but I hate the word steering committee because it almost implies that there's going to be meeting after meeting. But you know, how do we have that committee that is going to make sure that there's certain deliverables, whether it's a pilot or whatever, that indeed when we come back next year, we can say that all these things that we spoke about, the president speaks about the social compact. You know, this becomes the opportunity to be able to have that social compact and deliver the results. You've got the water bank, you know, as part of the district coordination model that's here. How do we then assist that, you know, and also other areas? So those are just a couple of thoughts that I had.
Directive and good presentation transforming the NLC. I think one challenge that you should also pose to the province as part of the traffic officers is also for the police officers. They get lost, and if they can be digitized, this thing of police officers getting lost can be eliminated. But my question that I want to pose to you is to say right to internet access, also known as broadband or freedom to connect, has been identified by the World Organization or as a human right. And we've seen in previous presentations that connectivity is a challenge. How did the NLC decide to fund the three sectors that you have mentioned, the ECD, arts, sports, and not consider something as critical as connectivity to assist the country to bridge the digital development?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for the inputs there. I just put this, I think for those that read the President's speech at SONA, I did a quick check last night and last week. There were 21 hits of the word economy in his speech. 21. Others are repeats. And there were 4 hits on the word digital. Now, this is where we need, as GTOP, we are now engaging at that level to make sure that the speech starts recognizing the requirements of the current and the future. Because remember, as a president, you give a cue. And this is what guides, that's what must guide all of us, especially in our business as well. And the second is the same with the Premier of Limpopo. Actually, I'm coming back to the same question you asked, because I'm going to answer that. Limpopo as well. If you look at what the Premier said in his SOPA, emphasis about the SEZs. Now, the question that you just asked now in terms of logistics, knowing where you're going. The first comment is about, do we have a Limpopo digital plan? Okay. Now, I know we've got local economic development plans of various provinces, maybe municipalities. So the type of this journey that we need to put together, I know with my GTO, we always say you cannot start something without identifying your immediate needs. So we need that digital plan. Because the SEZs, in Vemba as well, you will have space, you will have people coming in digging, as GM was saying earlier on, but you will have POP sitting. I went to the Khali the other day, I saw a POP with this fiber, and I said, but Dikhali, why can't you put something called Dikhalia broadband? Because there's a rail station there. We need that plan. Maybe in Limpopo connection, when we talk, after the meeting, we need to engage and find out what informs certain things so that we give proper answers. Now, the issue of why are we not engaging or delivering certain things that my colleague asked earlier on. I said the issue of will and trust. Now, if you don't trust the people that you're in, let's say, the people that you have entrusted them in certain position, but you don't have trust on them, it's never possible for those people to deliver. That's one problem. Now, with the issue of the NLC, unfortunately, as it stands right now, for those that maybe knows the telecoms industry, we have an institution called USASA, the Universal Service Agency of South Africa. Their mandate is to look at infrastructure-related projects. So when you talk about expansions of networks in underserved areas, that's the mandate that they have. But with the National Lotteries Commission, our mandate is only limited to developmental programs. And hence, the issue of ICT infrastructure rollout, it doesn't feature in our act that has created my institution. So that's how I can answer that at the back. But as I said, those three sectors that we fund, if there's an element of ICT in terms of skills development, training, it's no harm for you then to come with that kind of a proposal. 1st of April, our funding structure starts. You can come, apply, but you need to be a non-profit organization or an NGO or a Section 21. No PTY, no CCs. We only deal with non-governmental organizations. So in a nutshell, I think just to sum up, I think the comment that was mentioned earlier on, until such time that you do a skills audit, I think coming back to the issue around Microsoft, the issue of skills, I've raised it and I'm glad that you're raising it as well. Personally, I think the approach that we need to take as OEMs, part of your social development programs, let's not wait for people to apply. I think proactively come and meet the Minister for MEC for Education with the unions. Instill the fear, because I can tell you the fear of the future with digital transformation is an issue about security. People are concerned that is my information going to be secure? If you can take that fear out, and we can get all the mobile operators here, and as government, take the fear of paying data. Remember, as government, when we say free services, expectation is that go top next to the MPCs. I need to have my cell phone. I should access e-health, home affairs, without paying a cent. Now, remember the mobile operators had the obligations. It was meant to make sure that people for schools can then get Wi-Fi if possible, then I can access government service for free, but not to pay data. So we need to go back to history and say, why is that not being done? So even for transformation, if we put policies, but you don't put instruments to implement, we're going to have again the same problem that we're having today. That obligations are there to give schools 50%, to give government access to services because they're spectrum. But if you don't enforce that, the frustration that we have, we're going to leave the sector and join other sectors that I don't know. I've got a lot of friends now, they are in agriculture, they are in mining. These are professional ICT experts, spectrum management. They got frustrated because, so we need to be careful not to be caught in that. But let's talk professionally, openly like this, so that we start educating each other. But the issue of OEMs that are here, that small team, Premier's office, avail yourself and say, this is what we want to do. But can I caution, with our government, as you know, we've got PFMA. We need to respect that the PFMA has got a process on how you can do projects. But I always say that the PFMA does not preclude you to ask for what it calls deviation. You can motivate and say, for the purposes of digital transformation, Minister, MEC for Finance, can you give us Mule Village, Mule Municipality? We want to show you that when we talk about transformation, what does it mean? And they can, the Premier and the MEC, I'm sure it can be done. We've seen it, it's done in many other provinces. So that's my advice that I can give. Test the policies that we've all collectively put together. Don't be afraid of it, test it. And as I said, next year when I come, colleagues, I want to go to my clinic and my paper should be back up. But I just need to talk to my nurse and get my medical reports every day about my health. Why is private sector, the mediclinics, giving us all these apps with Discovery? Why are we afraid to do the same in government? Because I can tell you, all of us here, majority, we're all Discovery, Med Health, or some other things, Bonitas, and our information sits on this gadget, going through somebody's network, not knowing who's looking. So let's take that fear out. It excites me. You know, I've got passion of this because I was born in this sector. So when I talk about these things, I want it to be practical. It's easy. When we introduced this, it was 1 month in 1993. But today, to do digital digital transformation at the department, it's another 10 years. Why? If we can get the answer and say why and answer it, well, I can tell you, next year we'll have everything we want in this province. It's very easy. We've done it. I don't know why it stops us to do other things. So let me not talk. We'll talk tonight over a glass of water. Thank you.
Thank you, Pramti. Guys, I think it speaks from the heart. We say a lot of things. It's a challenge to us as a digital summit. What do we do from here today? I think that's the reason why we started this event, to say, what are we doing in this province? What are we doing to change this industry in this small province of Limpopo? Before I say anything, I think I'm employed by my boss. I will lose my job if I don't call him to come and say a few words. And then she give direction to what T was saying and wrap up everything that we were discussing. And then he will give us a direction for tomorrow. Let me call my boss.
Okay, we've basically come to the end of day 1 of the Digital Transformation Summit. In summary for day 1, we've touched on skills, we've touched on so many times on the importance of connectivity, the digital economy, and having it broken down. Tomorrow is basically a continuation, and especially from industry, we're going to have more panels. So in terms of digitally transforming the Limpopo province and creating a digital marketplace, I am really encouraged by the fact that potential sponsors are already coming on board and having discussions regarding next year and how we can do it better. For day 1, we've really achieved what we set out to achieve, and that is really to get all stakeholders in this room, as many stakeholders as we possibly can, since this is like the first one. I'm encouraged, and I can only say that I see this becoming bigger and better as we go forward. For me, what stood out about today really is the intimacy, the interaction, the direction that the Deputy Minister even gave to all speakers, where she was part of the room. And that is really what we wanted to derive from this digital summit. So thank you everyone, the speakers for coming. I know some people have left, but tomorrow is going to be another jam-packed day, and we've heard the call by Sizwe here to have, and the DM to have more municipalities involved, and having the youth being part of it. So we're hoping to see more representation from them tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you.